You've got your trusty blackboard with you for the next Conservative leader, Betfair Exchange. I can already see you've changed some of the things on there. Tell us who the front runners are.
Yeah, well, it's already been an incredibly changing market. As you know, Mike, the Betfair Exchange for politics is absolutely red hot. We were straight on the Boris Johnson story late Monday, early Tuesday.
Yeah.
The markets were moving, and of course, yesterday I was at Westminster, and following PMQs, the next Conservative leader market was red hot. And already today, since leaving the Betfair HQ in Hammersmith to getting here in talkTV Towers in London Bridge, the market's moved again, and we have a new favourite. Ben Wallace is now 5-2, in from 13-2 this morning. Right. There are a couple of other front runners as well. Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt in there. We've seen quite a lot of money for Rishi Sunak. Looking at the market at the minute, around 28% of the money on the market is for the former Chancellor. Obviously, he was one of the first to launch this apocalyptic time for the Prime Minister, wasn't he?
He was. And, I mean, I'm hearing as well that Steve Baker's getting some action too, that he started out as a sort of 14-1, has moved in substantially. We're talking to him later on in the shows, which is the reason I'm asking you.
Well, you can put this to him. He's currently around 24-1 on the Betfair Exchange. He doesn't quite make the odds board, but who knows? Have a chat to him later on this afternoon and see
well,
where he's at.
I think the key for an awful lot of them, and we've been hearing this from Peter Cardwell and other correspondents that we've been talking to, it's a question of whether they put their names forward, because at the moment we know of Suella Braverman. She's the only one that so far has declared that she wants to be in there. I don't see her name on the board.
No, looking unlikely, to be honest with you. Obviously, she has thrown her hat in the ring early. She's around 45-1 at the minute. The punter's not really fancying her. I think, looking at the list, obviously, Penny Mordaunt, she's been favourite for quite some time. Not quite now that Ben Wallace has taken over this morning, but Penny Mordaunt was obviously one of those that was sort of in the running in 2019. Rishi Sunak has always...
She gets a lot of name checks, Penny Mordaunt. A lot of people do like the look of her, whether or not they want her as Prime Minister. They certainly want her to be quite a senior figure in the cabinet, I think.
Yeah, certainly. And look, the odds would suggest, and the punters steadily backing her ever since, you know, this market's been live. So it would suggest that she's going to be in contention with running for the next Conservative leader. But as things stand, it is Ben Wallace who is the new favourite today.
I mean, given what's being said around the time that it might take to get a new leader, would you even have a book on how soon somebody will actually be elected? Because we just heard from Richard Tice there from Reform UK saying, you know, we can't drag this out all the way till October. It can't be done so slowly that people are literally watching Boris Johnson kind of disintegrate before their very eyes. So, I mean, obviously people, I think, would prefer to have it done quicker.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand that. And I think, obviously, we've got recess as well coming in just a couple of weeks' time, and they won't be back till September. Will it get done in that time whilst they're away, etc.? So a lot of questions, but I just find it very interesting, the significant move this morning on Ben Wallace, and I'm wondering if the punters believe that could be because, you know, there's this talk around getting it done sooner rather than later, and I just wonder if Ben Wallace could be leading the charge with that.
Yeah, well, also a lot of people bringing up the fact that you know, there are national security issues to be sorted out and to be dealt with, and if you are dealing with the war in Ukraine and various things to do with military matters, it wouldn't be a bad shout for him to take over from Boris Johnson almost immediately.
Yeah, he's got that experience, and you know, the punters don't often get it wrong when it comes to these sort of things. So, like you said, he has got the credentials when it comes to the war in Ukraine and the other security matters, etc. So he could be a solid candidate there, and the punters certainly think that. They've backed him into 5-2 favourite in the past hour. Yeah.
Interesting. And Rishi Sunak, I suppose a lot will depend on what people find out, because Nadhim Zahawi, when he came in yesterday as the new Chancellor of the Exchequer, shortly before he knifed the bloke that gave him the job, was kind of making noises about how Rishi Sunak wasn't really doing what Boris Johnson wanted him to do, that he was kind of withholding money. He wanted to bring taxes down, but Rishi Sunak wasn't letting him do it. I mean, that could kibosh his chances as well.
Yeah, of course. I think Rishi Sunak has always been a very popular choice with the punters. We did see his odds drift quite significantly when he went through that scandal of his own with the tax
with his wife. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. He wouldn't have a problem raising any funds for his campaign, would he? He'd just ask the missus for a couple of million.
So, but, you know, he's still in there as one of the favourites. I think the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot come out in the wash, and I think that will probably impact the market. But as things stand, you know, the most significant change we have seen to date has been in the past hour, and it has been for Ben Wallace. But Rishi Sunak is up there 5-1 just behind him, and Penny Mordaunt, who has steadily been backed throughout the past months, she's 6-1 chance.
And I mean, there will be those who will say it might be time for another woman Prime Minister. There are plenty of people in the running for that. Would you run a book on something like that, whether it's a man or a woman, or is that too broad?
I think, to be honest with you, there's a lot of candidates in the next Conservative leader as well. There's a lot of males and females. Liz Truss is in there at 9-1. You know, you go through the
What
list.
about Priti Patel? Any action on her?
Priti Patel not in the running at the minute. You can back Priti Patel at around 94-1.
Really?
So a big outsider.
That is a big one.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, look, there's lots of candidates in the list on the exchange, and I'm just thinking back to 2019. You know, you think of the usual suspects that are in there. Obviously, he got some headlines last night. Michael Gove having been sacked. He was one that almost went head-to-head with Boris, but then he pulled out, didn't he, back in 2019. He's 64-1. He's not looking likely. Dominic Raab, one of Boris Johnson's allies, obviously the Deputy Prime Minister. Could this be his time to shine? 19-1 at the minute, so not looking likely. But, yeah, we do have our front-runner and a new favourite in the past hour.
So, Ben Wallace, currently the front-runner, 5-2. Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt making up the top three, quite a long way for everybody else. Sam, thank you very much indeed. We'll come back to you, I'm sure, throughout the course of the day as things change. Sam Rosbottom there from Betfair Exchange.